Hey guys, this is week 3. So we're going to really quick go through a little summary of the things that you need to do. This slideshow will be included in the classroom, so you can always go back and refer to it. This is take 2 today. Again, I went a little bit too over, talking too much, so I'm just going to kind of speed through this as fast as I can. You can always go back and refer to the slideshow to get any more information. Okay, so periods 2, 5, and 6, 2 different things. You're going to watch this video. Slideshow, like I said, will be here. You're going to complete a form. That form looks like this. You're going to watch the videos and answer the questions and make sure that you submit that before Friday. And then the other thing is you're going to open up the scenarios paper that looks like this, and it will give you some information and then have you answer some questions here. And there's only 2 scenarios, so it shouldn't take you too long. Okay. All right. Now back to 3rd, 4th, and 7th period. Yours is a little different, and it'll be different in the classroom as well. Number 1 and 2 are the same. Number 3 is a little bit different. You're going to open up the migration cues document that looks like this, and at the top there's a link right here. Click here, and that link is going to take you to this website. There are 5 videos here about wildebeest or crocodiles, crabs, whales, butterflies. There's a bunch of videos there, and you're going to be looking for internal and external cues. The worksheet will walk you through the difference between what internal and external is, so make sure you understand that. Of course, internal is cues that happen inside of our body, like hunger and thirst and going to the bathroom. External cues are things that happen outside, like temperature, shifting seasons, availability of food, of course, that we're all kind of going through right now. Okay, so and then of course the second thing that you all have to do, 3rd, 4th, and 7th, is that same scenario worksheet that looks like that. Okay, so those are the 2 things that each of those classes have to do before Friday. And again, if you have any questions, make sure you reach out to me. Had a couple people this week send me some messages asking for clarification, and again, I don't mind helping you out. So if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, so really quick, I want to go through this information so it'll help you accomplish your goals of understanding what you're being asked to do this week. So we're going to talk about competition and limiting factors, what factors play a role in where living things choose to live, and what may cause them to move. Now, some of you may have moved in the past and are new to Pease or new to San Antonio or didn't grow up here. Your parents probably moved here because of the job. Or they moved here because of family, or they moved here because the military moved them here. There's a lot of different reasons why people move. And they can be somewhat similar to the same reasons why animals like this wildebeest is jumping into this crocodile-infested water, and why these birds are flying away. Okay, so we're trying to understand what causes animals to move. Okay, all right. So as we think about those reasons, make sure we understand the difference between immigration and migration. Immigration is basically what humans do. It's a word that means moving to another country permanently. Being from South Texas, we deal with that quite a bit. Migration is a word that means moving to another place momentarily. So you're just temporarily moving to another place because things are easier there, or the weather's better, or the food is better. So the little GIF here shows you how birds move. So if you look right here, all the birds are up north during the summer. But as we start getting closer to winter in the north, you'll notice all of these bird colonies start to move towards the south. Of course, it's summer down here in December, remember? Okay, so now as we move into January, you'll see that these birds start to migrate a little bit further north. We get into spring, and then summer in the north, they're moving up there. So these birds want to stay where it's warm. And we talked about in astronomy how when it's summer in the northern hemisphere, it's winter in the south, and when it's summer in the south, it's winter in the north. So these birds are migrating north and south in order to stay where the weather is warm. Okay. Now, weather would be an abiotic factor, a non-living factor. So the amount of rain, the amount of sun, water, and soil, those are non-living factors that may cause an organism to move. Okay. Because if there's not enough of any of those things, they may need to move to another area to where there is enough. The other factor are called biotic factors, and those are the living things. So that's really comes down to the availability of food. So if it's wintertime and the snow is covering the grass, some organisms will migrate further south in order to stay in areas where their grass is. Or in Africa, the wildebeest will make a loop, and there's a video about that. Will make a loop, and they follow the rainy season, so there are always areas where there's grass and there's water. So the grass piece would be biotic, and the water piece would be abiotic. Okay, so make sure you understand the difference between those two things. Okay. Also, make sure you understand these three roles: predator, prey, and scavenger. In this picture, the shark is the predator, the seal is the prey, the bear is the predator here, the fish is the prey. But I want to talk a little bit about hyenas. Hyenas can kill their own food and be predators, but for the most part, hyenas and vultures tend to be scavengers, meaning they don't actually do the killing. They let the lion or the cheetah do the killing, and then they bring like their crew, their 30 or so hyenas, and scare the lion or the cheetah off in order to steal their kill. So that's what scavengers do. We see them all the time here in San Antonio. I see a bunch of them coming to work every morning, big buzzards or turkey buzzards that are sitting on top of these street lights waiting for some unlucky animal to get killed or run over by a car, and then they swoop down on the road and scavenge that meat. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Most of y'all understand the difference between those. Okay. All right, so really quick, competition. We should all understand what competition is. We compete for trophies, we compete for championships, we compete to win games, all those kinds of things. But in the animal kingdom, competition is not about getting a trophy, not about calling yourself a champion. Competition is about living and dying. So in nature, living things compete with one another for the resources they need to stay alive or reproduce to ensure the continuation of their species. And they compete for both biotic and abiotic factors. So for example, plants compete for air, water, light, and root space. They compete for bees to come and help pollinate them. That's what flowers are for. That's why plants develop flowers, to attract bees. The more colorful the flower, the more attractive they are to bees. So that's also part of their competition as well. In the rainforest, where there's lots of trees, hard to get sunlight down there at the bottom of the rainforest, you have two options. A tree can either grow tall, or a plant can grow super tall to get up to the light, or it can make its leaves super wide to collect as much sunlight as it possibly can. So you're never going to find a lot of plants in the rainforest that have really super thin leaves. They want to have as big a leaf as possible in order to collect as much sunlight so that they can collect as much of that energy to go through photosynthesis. All right. Animals will compete for food and fight over it. The availability, not just the food itself, but an area where the food is good, they're going to fight. And that would be that they would be fighting for the territory. They also will fight over the ability to mate and be able to pass their genes on to the offspring. I don't have really had a lot of time to talk about it, but that's what the Lion King is kind of about. That's why Scar kind of took over for Mufasa. And that's what happens in lion prides all over Africa today. One male lion will come in and either kill or kick out the other male lion so that he can take over the pride and have his genetic material be passed on to the cubs. And I won't get into all the gruesome details. There's a video down here that shows a cheetah losing his kill to some scavengers, some wild dogs, I think it is. And then these hippos here are probably competing for space and territory so that they can either mate or have the availability of food. Okay, so that's what competition is about. Again, competition in the wild is about staying alive. Okay. All right. Last slide is limiting factors. So in that same kind of sense of competing, these are the things that they're competing for. Organisms are going to compete for space, territory. That's where the hunting is good, the weather is good. They don't want to compete with other organisms coming into their neighborhood and taking the stuff that they need. It would be kind of like somebody breaking into your house and taking all of your food and your toilet paper that you need during these times. And it's not tolerated in the wild kingdom, and it's not tolerated in our community as well. So they defend their territory, so they'll compete for that. If they start to lose it, or if humans come in and start to take it away, they will. They're going to have to find some other place to get their food. Okay. Sunlight is an abiotic factor that organisms will compete for. I talked earlier about how plants in the rainforest will compete for the availability of sunlight. Temperature, again, is a big factor for birds. Birds will migrate in order to stay in warmer temperatures. Water, another abiotic factor. If you've ever seen videos of animals in Africa, all of them kind of huddling around the last little tiny bit of water. So they're going to compete for that as well. Food is a limiting factor, and soil. So all of these factors are those things that can prevent a species from being successful. And if those limiting factors affect them too much, they're going to have to migrate and move to another place. In human terms, again, availability of food, availability of jobs, all of those things are reasons why people will immigrate to other countries to find a better life. Okay? So make sure that you understand competition, what limiting factors are, the difference between biotic and abiotic factors, predator-prey relationships, what a scavenger is, and also the difference between immigration and migration. Okay, so all this information is here. Make sure that you read through this, listen to the video, and understand it all before you start the assignments. Again, most of y'all did a really good job last week getting stuff in. I know that we had to make some phone calls and stuff like that. Hopefully y'all remember to get this done. If you did not turn in the stuff from last week, there's still time. I went in this weekend and graded everything, and I should have returned it all back to you if you turned it in. Or if you turned it in and didn't do it, I may have returned it back to you so that you can finish it. So we want to make sure that you go back and get all that stuff done and turned in as soon as you can. Okay, because if you don't, it's going to start piling up on you, and then you're going to have week 2 stuff to do, and week 3 stuff to do, and week 4 stuff to do. And if we're going to be out at least until May 4th, and depending on how things go, we may be out the rest of the school year. We don't know. So we want to make sure that we stay on top of this as much as possible. Again, reach out to me, send me a message if something happens, something comes up, you can't get to it, you're having problems accessing it or having problems getting connected. We're always here for you to help, and want to make sure that you're safe first, and food distribution still continuing. So again, if there's anything that you need or any help, make sure that you let us know. Okay, guys? All right, so y'all have a good week. Stay safe, wash those hands, and I miss y'all. Take it easy. We'll see you later. Bye.